I'm Stephanie from Hidden Illuminations, and I am a modern day mystic and guide. And I love working with people with the cards, the archetypal cards, primarily of the system of tarot, oracle cards, but basically archetypes of beautiful artistic imagery to help problem solve situations in their life. And today I really want to talk about how I create my spreads, ultimately and nearly always with the clients. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. So overall, spreads are the kind of thing that I think many readers may originally start with, gosh, are there known spreads that we should all be using that will answer all of our questions? This particular book has 1,001, and it actually says it's the complete book of tarot spreads for every purpose. And I think that it's very intuitionally, it's very simple to say there's been somebody else who's invented this wheel before, and there must be an ultimate spread that's going to be perfect for that. And I would posit that nothing that you choose to do within a structure is going to be wrong because the cards will find a way to communicate to you, but that it's special, like a gift for my clients when they come in, that we're creating the spread with them. This originated from the fact that I am very much scattered when it comes to exactly what the question is and remembering what the question is and then reading the cards and then thinking, now, what was the question again? And so I just have scratch sheets, when I overprint a piece of paper, I cut it into 4/4 and I make a scratch sheet. And when I'm doing a reading just on my own, I will write the question down so that, and I'll tuck it underneath, next to me, so that I can constantly refer back to exactly what the question was. And I don't, it's like pinning a butterfly to the wheel sometimes, some of these energies. So it keeps pulling me back and it keeps me on track. If I have a client with me, I will have, a nicer book out. And as they talk about how many people and how many situations and who the players are, I will take notes. I'll quote things that they've said, and it will just come to me that we've got higher levels of information coming in. We've got kind of clunky levels of reality that kicking our asses. There's some of the old stuff that's moving out and kind of where we're standing, that past, present, future kind of has a heart in the center of the reading, like a Celtic crossword or something else. But I'm wondering how many parties, how many moving parts there are to a pull before I pull up cards. And so I had one today and I'd like to explain it a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of recreate. I want to get into the cards. In this particular situation, I had a client or a person coming in who is saying, I've got this situation where it's me and my work and another institution, another person and another institution. And so the problem, like the central issue, is none of our faults. And in that particular situation, I think I used the Caticorn Tarot. And the Caticorn Tarot is a lovely, sweet deck. Here, I'll put it here. And I was thinking that we had a central issue that was kind of kicking our butts, and we have an overall everybody is put off, both the institutions and the people is put off by the central problem. And so I wanted to know what the central problem was, and I wanted to know how it affected each individual human being. Because if I do a reading where there's two or three or groups of people involved, almost always I will have a card or I may lay out, like if I have a situation where I know that one group of people are going to be thinking a certain way, and another group of people are going to be thinking a different way, then I'm going to have a card in the center, quite possibly from a different deck, that is going to tell me what the central issue is between this group of people and the other group of people. And the reason that I want to know that is that we're going to have a higher lesson for everyone because they're individual human beings. We're going to have commonality or the heart of the issue. And then we're going to have, kind of like the what we're grounded or foundationally where we came from to get to where we are. I have a lighting issue, so let me close some curtains. Hold on just a second. So if I have a central issue, I know that this is the employee, this is my client, another employee. I know I have two employers. I know that there's going to be some commonality, and I know that there's going to be a central problem we have to solve. And I'll use the bottom of the deck more than likely in that situation. And so you'll see me draw up my little cute book for the client, or just if I'm doing it myself, you'll see me draw up a sheet where I'm like, okay, I've got my client. There's going to be an employee at the other corporation. We've got these two employers. We've got some things in common around the issue. And so it's like giving me guidance. It'll be a little bit different if I'm using my personal book. I will have more quotes from the client because I find that it's exceedingly valuable to me and to the client when they say something, this is my problem, they won't realize they're saying it. They're a little bit in a channeled space when they're with me because we're all working us against the problem. And stuff will come out of their mouths and they might not really realize it because they're telling their story and they're all up in, they got an hour to get this out and get this figured out. And so they're moving fast. And so when I'm doing the reading, I'm checking back over the things they've actually said and how the cards address the thing they've actually said. If they're like, my father wouldn't even bear with this. And I see, a lot of heavy masculinity in the cards or something that would be a significator that this is an issue that goes a little bit more into the dad side of the emotional equation than the actual problem. They've already given me that quote. And I'm saying, well, you said your dad wouldn't stand this, or you're judging yourself for what your dad wouldn't stand, that kind of a thing. So again, I'm big on note taking, but maybe that's just me and my brain and you do you, boo. Okay. So when I am looking at the central situation between two corporations or two people, and I see another two in the center, the Two of Pentacles, this particular fellow is casting his Two of Pentacles in the sky. Then I'm going to I'll look at my client and see what their issue is. Queen of Pentacles. She's just making her coin, man. She is a queen on top of things. I've got Death on the other side. So she's across from someone who wants to get out of this job. And so her counterpart at the other corporation, their life is getting sucked out of them. So they're not going to be a real strong counterpart against this problem. They're working with a corporation that's the Eight of Wands. That corporation might quickly be swirling the drain, or something's happened fast at work and it's not pretty. Her job is the Hermit. So, her job is basically just, could you go into your cubicle and get your job done? She knows how to do her job. She's the queen of making stuff happen. She's like running on all fours over here. And then the person on the other side just pretty much wants to commit Harry Carey because whatever's going on at work is fast and nobody knows where it's flying. This particular cat is trying to catch all of the cat toys are flying, and the cat is, basically they look more like arrows. They're going to, land on the cat in the Eight of Wands. So what do these two corporations have in common? Because we see two employees have nothing in common, two corporations have nothing in common, but there's something that brought them together for this Two of Pentacles to create the problem. So for my client, the problem that she's got is a Page of Swords. So there's some new thought, new concept, maybe some change in the corporation's a little stuck in its ways. This is the Hermit card down here if you can't see it. And the other corporation is the Queen of Wands. Interestingly, they've got maybe somebody new coming in who's trying to keep the old employees that have bad morale or whatever's coming in fast. This Queen of Wands is trying to bring in ideas and make things happen. So we've got a situation where the Two of Pentacles is the energy that is trying to and again, going back to, what we're looking for here, how do we, and this would be a situation where I would go back to the actual question of the client, but I would go back to my notes, and looking at my notes, I'm like, if I have two things that are in common around the central issue, how do I get advice for the client around that? So it's not just one thing to recognize how close we are. It's another to recognize we got to come up with a solution for this. It's going to work for both parties. So we've got the two ideas that are up in the air. One corporation is trying to completely remake itself in order to survive, and the other corporation has gotten kind of dead and doesn't have much life in it, and they want to bring in some new ideas. So, whatever is happening in this particular situation, I would tell the client, well, if you guys want to breathe new life into a successful but kind of trudging business. They are trying to bring someone in who doesn't maybe know everything that's going on, but is super creative. Then we want to look at creativity. So, is there anything? See, again, I'm reaching for a red deck right away. Intuitively, I'm like, ooh, creativity. Now, I reached for a different red deck. I would usually think that creativity would ask for the California deck. But I'm drooling when I say this. I was just hungry intuitionally for something that is creative in a darker kind of way. This Yakuza deck is going to be creativity from the streets. And so, what can my client do, or even advise if she's got a hermit for an employer? She's got the Four of Wands. So, let's propose working together to creatively problem solve. I would be shocked if this situation didn't turn out ultimately to be something along the lines of, we've got a problem that is a problem for our entire industry, and we need to come up to snuff and catch up because we're falling behind. One business is failing, falling behind, and the other business is chugging along and doing okay, probably because it's a monolith, but it's not keeping up with the times either. So both companies coming together and doing a creative brainstorming type of a thing, then that is going to have the celebration of crossing the finish line of the garland of the Four of Wands, that they can put something together moving forward into the future. So that would be how I would, and very similar to how I worked with the client today, where it's not just people, but institutions, and each one of them have different personalities. And then there's something that brings them together. And that bridge, I would say, if you think about your card draws as being sometimes past, present, future, but also as bridge and the heart of the matter, you can creatively come up with draws that not only give you very alive answers, but it's really fun for your clients because they see you making the draw just for them. And you're not just falling to what you would see in a standard Celtic cross. Not that that's, the classics are classics for a reason, or trying to find it in a book that says that it's all there. But, archetypes are live and living, and every single person is such an independent individual human being. So I hope it was helpful and fun, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming in, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. I kind of like that. That was kind of cute. That could be it. I'm done.